Welcome, Maria. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Lilith. I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I'm so happy to have you here today, and I'm so excited that we'll be able to talk today about.
That's perfect because most people, when I talk about the things I know, they've never heard about it or heard about it, thought about it, but never actually acted upon it. And that brings us to what I do. And
Yes.
so I wanted to always protect people. I decided to become an attorney in 7th grade back in Russia.
Wow.
And because I always fought bullies, I protected fears. I always was for law and order. I wanted to be everything to be right, but fair at the same time.
Yes.
So I actually graduated St. Petersburg State University, and I became an attorney back in Russia. And things happened that I came here to the United States, and after being here for several years, I questioned myself, what do I want to do? And I still had that desire in my heart, and I was here with my husband. I came here actually 3 months pregnant with my first daughter back in 1999. And so I decided, yes, I want to be an attorney as well. And my self-esteem was below, like so low, because because my English wasn't that good. Actually, I wasn't accepted to paralegal school because of my poor English skills. And that's the perfect example of one door closes, another door opens. So the sky's the limit. And while being here, I went through all immigrant life. I was a nanny, I was a housekeeper, raising a child. Bottom line, I became an attorney. I passed the bar from the first try. And in 2009, I opened my own firm. And the rest is the history. That's why I'm using all possible venues to talk to people, and especially our immigrant communities. They don't know what's possible, or they heard things from neighbors,
from others,
from friends, and that's very rarely accurate information.
I know.
So what I'm doing, trying to protect people, so I chose practices. What I do, bankruptcy protection. So when people unfortunately have no means of repaying their debts, and also estate planning, which is protecting yourself and your family for the future, organizing your affairs. So in case something happens to you, you know that your kids, your spouses, your assets, your business, your house will be protected. And I worked at the prosecutor's office back in St. Petersburg, and I actually worked here at city attorney's office, volunteered for some time. And I've learned to realize system is the system, and it doesn't matter which continent it's in or country. It's still the system. And once you get into once you have to get into dealing with government or courts, for my purposes, you have no right, you have no voice. You are told what to do. So court clerk can put a mug on your file, and you just hope that it's going to be decided the way you want. So I'm trying to be proactive and have my clients and give my clients power to make decisions now.
Estate planning. So what does it include? I know you just told me a little story, God forbids if something happens, and I want to go like that detail by detail to my viewers so they understand what is really estate planning.
So basically, estate planning, often people misunderstand estate, and they think I have to have estate planning when only rich people have to do it. Whereas it's not the truth. Rich people actually do it because they have a bunch of attorneys behind their backs. I also have clients, rich people, multi-million-dollar, professionals or businessmen, and they're protected. My concern is our middle class, people who work hard all their lives, and they don't know what are the possibilities, what they actually can do to protect themselves while they're living, in case they become incapacitated, ill, or in case they die. What's going to happen to their spouses? What's going to happen to their families, to their children, especially minor children? How their estate, and let me talk about that estate again. Estate means whatever you have. So
Jarangutun.
let's take standard family, husband, wife, 2 children. And they have a house, they have a business, joint account, and 2 separate accounts. That's their estate. You don't have to have multi-million-dollar, equity in anything. That's what you have. That's your life. That's your world. And just like we purchase insurance for our vehicles, we purchase insurance for our houses because they tell us to do so, right? But it's just in case. And that's why you have to create an estate plan to address all possible life's what if. What if I'm mom, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a business woman, I'm wife, I'm pet owner, I'm whatever, everything, all the hats I can hold. I board the plane, I have same questions like, what if? I mean, things happen. Or I go somewhere without my kids. I have 3 kids, by the way. So you always worry about it. And this plan, when you design it, actually gives you the power of peace of mind because you know what's going to happen. You can leave letters to your kids. You can give video to your kids. You can say, hey, if something happens to me, this relative or this friend of ours will take care of you because I know I can trust this person. A very sad situation, especially with minor kids, happen in court when no plan exists. I've seen in court scenarios where family members fight over custody of children, and you can see they don't care about the child. They care about the money that goes with the kids, the inheritance, because the custodian will have to manage that. And that is just sad. Whereas parent has power during lifetime to say, hey, something happens to me, I appoint my mama, my sister, my whoever to take care of my kids because I know they know each other, my kids love them, and I know they'll do the best for them. It's just touching the surface. That's talking about children, but it's very dear to my heart because especially with the latest real life situation, a lady, a single mom, got very bad case of COVID and got admitted to the hospital when the recent spike happened. And she gave me a call Friday evening, barely speaking. It's like, I'm scared for my life. I think I'm going to die. I need to create something right now because I need to know what's going to happen to my 9-year-old daughter. I got, shivers because, and it was time when you couldn't go into to the hospital because of the, COVID situation. So within 24 hours, I was able to prepare the will, prepare all the documents that she needed actually to make sure that her daughter is protected and taken care of for the future. And I pulled the strings to have a notary going into the hospital and actually signing the document. So we were able to do that. She's fine now. But just imagine, as a mother, you're laying, you're thinking, oh my God, that's it. And my daughter is somewhere there and nobody can protect her. She'll be taken by some child protective services.
You don't know what future she will have.
Yes. So, and the question is why? Thank God we were able to do things fast. But sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes it's too late. I receive calls when nothing else can be done. And it's easy just to think. We think, especially in our cultures also, we don't want to think about death because we can jinx it, right?
I know. I have never thought about this, to be honest. But now I'm like, tomorrow.
But it's better to think about it once instead of every day. I mean,
just being like, nothing will happen. Nothing
we're
will
all invincible, right? Oh, I have so many stories about that, especially, like our community, housewives. A lot of our people, ladies take care of families, take care of, the husbands, the baby, the household, everything. And man is in charge of business, finances, accounts, and everything. And sometimes wives don't even know how to write a check. And I have 2 cases in court right now, in probate court, where husband suddenly passed, young, 40, in 40s and in their 50s. They'd never planned. They'd never planned. And wives, one of them actually got with nothing. She didn't have access to any accounts. She didn't have access to, and she only had credit cards. That's it, but there's a limit, right? And so I had to, actually, my office supplied her with some money before we can go through the whole court system, which can take up to 2 years to get access to the money that family actually has, but no plan was designed. So
it would be very hard.
Very hard and expensive. In probate court, it's a part of judicial system that regulates the inheritance, transfer of ownership after somebody passed. It takes about 2 years here in Los Angeles because we have so few judges, and
it's just so many cases, probably.
So many because people don't know, they don't plan, and during that period, 25 to 35% out of the whole estate is spent on attorneys, on CPAs, on court fees, on appraisals, on notices, you name it. And just the thought of it, that you have to go through the judicial system.
I don't even want to think about it.
You don't.
That's why it's time to,
It's
call
time.
Maria.
No.
Reserve your spot.
Or
what if?
What if, yes, and peace of mind.
Peace of mind, yes.
And also I give, as I told you, my idea, I want to give education. I want to explain people what's possible, what can be done to protect. And at least if you still don't do anything, you make that informed decision.
Maybe
if you
not
know
today,
about
but
it,
next time maybe.
But next time, procrastination is also the problem. But at least you know, and it's on you now. So it's your responsibility. Now, one thing you don't know, and you don't do anything, but now you know, and
it's time to do it.
It's time to protect your family.
I know some relatives, maybe they're perfect people, but what if they don't have a good background, or something they did, or something they didn't do, but they blamed him? They won't be able to take care of the child.
That's why.
But if you leave the will, they don't go and dig every single thing. They will be like, well, this is the mother's and the father's will. You can take care of this kid, and that's it.
And usually I always ask people to name several. So if one doesn't work, then another comes into play. Let's say you can name your parents first, grandparents, but they may become older, later on. So you have somebody else there just in case.
This was very informative. Trust me, it was very informative.
Intense.
Yes, intense, but very, very informative. And we need this. We need to know this. Definitely. We can move on and talk a little about bankruptcy too.
Certainly.
About SBA loans, PPP loans.
I started receiving a lot more calls about bankruptcy protection, the need of help. Actually, some bankruptcy attorneys were expecting, spike in bankruptcy filings as soon as COVID hit and with all the business closures, but it never happened because of all the loans that forwarded. Money was poured by government on people. But let me tell you, government never does anything free. They'll find a way to take it back either from you or from somebody else,
They gave us stimul checks. Now look at the gas price.
Exactly. Somehow they will turn it around. But we do expect actually spike in bankruptcy filing next year, end of this year and next year, because all the government stimulus ends. They stop issuing checks left and right, EDD checks as well, and time comes to start repaying those loans that people received. There was 6 months, then another 6 months.
Today I received an email that they extend for more 6 months. So.
Yes, so they extend, but finally people come to realization that it has to be paid, and some people can afford repaying, but unfortunately many will not, especially with what's going on nowadays with all the global economy going down the drain and gas prices. People cannot afford basics. The food prices went up. So it's going to be ultimately, it will end up with choice for the family. Am I paying for a loan or am I feeding my kids? And the choice is obvious, right? So you're feeding the kids. And actually a lot of, for some surprisingly, what I found, both Russian and Armenian people very conscious and ethically, because they're saying, hey, but I took the money, I have to repay. And often I have a conversation like, don't worry, they'll find a way to get the money. If you're at the stage when you cannot repay, you cannot force them, yourself and your family, because what people do sometimes, they borrow more money to repay other debts, and that becomes the snowball. They drain deeper and deeper in debt. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're just throwing your money away. Take your wife on vacation, or do something nice instead, because you will end up in bankruptcy anyways. So I'm trying to help. And with SBA loans, there's a lot of misconception. There are a lot of rumors going around of what's going to happen if they can be forgiven, what's going to happen. So it is possible. There are possibilities to roughly saying getting rid of it, but I'm very
I understand.
So we have to look at the agreement that's been signed, if any collateral was given for the loan. And also sometimes people say, okay, I give all my business assets or my house or something in collateral for receiving that loan. I didn't sign similar. I did receive my loan, but it was that I just personally responsible. No actual asset was attached to it. But sometimes it was the case. Assets.
Yes.
So that becomes a more difficult situation. Yeah. So we have to take a look at the whole picture, at the contract, for what the loan was taken, for what it was actually spent on.
Why you cannot pay it.
Why you cannot pay it, what happened to your business. And usually for debt forgiveness, for government loan forgiveness, you have to actually close your business. So not have to close, but it has to be closed to show that nothing else can be done. We're done. I have no means of repaying. And we have to, so there are formulas that there's a process for government to look at it. It's both government, SBA, plus the bank who actually issued the money. So both institutions look at the case. It is very case by case reviewed and
very detailed.
Very detailed. Yes, we have to see very precisely what transpired. Also, we know that some people spent those money not on business. A lot of people that, I got money, there's down payment, property houses are rising.
How many people got caught? They knew that they got a lot of money and they spent it. They paid cash for houses, they paid cash for G-Wagons. They paid cash for Rolex, and then
those people who living like I'm living today, and no tomorrow.
No
but,
tomorrow. Like there is no tomorrow.
Things happen. I mean, people get carried away. Suddenly, money come. Go. But that's also very. Government just poured money on people without reviewing the application. That's also responsible in a way. Also, there is a possibility of bankruptcy filing. For personal, because by signing that agreement, we became personally responsible for the loan. So if my business cannot repay, they turn to me personally. And I have to say, hey, I have nothing, or I have no means of repaying myself as well. That's why I'm filing for bankruptcy, and you have to let me go. It is a possibility. And again, it has to be looked at case by case, very precisely.
Well, if we take something, we have to understand that there is actions behind whatever we took, especially if that's money. And yes, I totally agree with you when you say government does not give you anything free. Yes, it's impossible if you get anything free in this country. That's why we have to be very careful about what we choose, and people like you help us to decide what's the right next step to do, especially with that amount of money.
Very important. It's with bankruptcy, with estate planning. First, talk to a professional that you trust. It could be your CPA, it could be their journey, I mean, somebody talk to somebody, to professional, because a lot of times, especially in our communities, people talk to each other. Oh, I did this, I did that, I transferred title to my brother, I, sold it, or, do some under the rug, under the table things, covering things up. And that may lead to the worst situation eventually. And so before you do anything, at least talk to some professional and see what's possible over what's not. And then if you decide to do something, then at least you know what are possible consequences.
Yes,
so you're not... or if sometimes there are loopholes and you can legally go around certain things, but legally. So why not? And I have stories about that too.
You cannot avoid any consequences, that's for sure. In this life, whatever you do, it comes back to you. Even if it's bad, eventually something will happen. So you have to be very careful.
True.
And at least if you want to do it, you got to call her. So she will help you out and she will give you some ideas legally how to get through that difficulty that you guys are going through. And I wanted to tell a little bit about you are doing the personal injury as well, right?
Yes, I have department
Let's
handling.
talk a little bit about that too.
Well, personal injury, we know it's a slip and fall if you, God forbid, fell on somebody else's premises, or car accidents. We know our people coming from, especially who drove back in our countries, they say, hey, people can drive here because, it's not, when my kids started driving, my older daughter and now my son is behind the wheel, I'm telling them, okay, I trust you. I know how you drive, but look at what's going on around us. So accidents do happen, and personal injury, it's like we're trying to get you in the best situation possible to make you as whole as possible as you were before the accident. And many people disregard as what they call minor accidents. If nothing's broken for our people, when they ask, are you okay? If bone isn't sticking out of, the skin, if we're not bleeding, like we're okay because we're strong, right? But it's not the case. Even soft tissue injuries can be
threatening,
no, not threatening, but lifelong. I mean, me personally, I have 3mm bulge in my neck, and it's not that much from the car accident, but it will last with me for the rest of my life. I am always with the chiropractor or the massage therapist. I have to treat it because it flares up. Because soft tissues like muscles and joints, and there's still scar from the whiplash injury. And so you have to take care of it timely. And there's stigma about, you're minor accident, you go to a chiropractor, you go to orthopedic doctor, or you're trying just to make money. No, I never try to exaggerate my clients' injuries or inflate treatment. But we have to do what we have to do, because I know, again, in my personal experience, that it can potentially last lifetime.
Yeah.
And actual impact doesn't really depend, because I've had clients whose car would roll over on a high speed, and the guy walked out with no injuries at all. Like, he was fine. I mean, he went to the emergency room, but he didn't need any treatment. He was fine, literally. But I had a lady with a 400 property damage to repair the vehicle on a minor speed, and she had 1mm disc bulge in your neck. But for her, it was so bad, because she was that type of, because everybody's different, everybody takes it different. And I was able to obtain full policy, 25,000 for her with that minor. So you never know how the case is going to work out, what type of injuries there. And I'm always I'm taking my client's hand and guide them through the process, whatever it is, bankruptcy, estate planning, personal injury. Will help with the doctors, whatever treatment is necessary, and obtain the best for you.
I like when lawyers really care about their customers.
If any take you can from this presentation, I appreciate it, is that before you do something, talk to somebody and ask for, most attorneys don't charge for initial consultation. So there should be no fear of asking, you know. Just call.
Don't be shy to ask.
Don't be shy. And it's because it's your family, it's your health, it's your finances, it's your future.